SIFT Fund, the Scottish Innovative Foundation Technologies Fund, and that is to support innovative substructures. And this was followed by our enhanced rock support for offshore test and demonstration and non-fixed turbines. As some of you will be aware, last year we also consented the European Offshore Wind Deployment Centre here in Aberdeen. You may have read about that in the press. And we hope that decisions will be made in the courts about the future of that project reasonably soon. More recently, we have seen the installation of the Siemens 6 megawatt turbine at the onshore test facility at Hunterston, and the world's largest offshore wind turbine, the Samsung 7 megawatt turbine at Metal. So all of these are positive developments where we've been happy to provide in the Scottish Government a supportive environment, together with, of course, our economic development agencies, Scottish Enterprise and Highlands and Islands Enterprise. However, we do, of course, have challenges to overcome, as we are only too well aware. The UK Government last month announced some modest concessions to the offshore sector, but I remain concerned that the design and limits of the new CFD, the Contract for Difference mechanism, will restrict the opportunities to develop this industry and thereby potentially lose out enormous opportunities to create jobs and build investment. We in the Scottish Government believe that the UK's ambitions for offshore wind are still pitched too low, and without a clear and ring-fenced commitment and budget to support the delivery of meaningful capacity, the supply chain and the levels of inward investment that we want to see across Scotland will be at risk. I was therefore deeply concerned at the UK Government's announcement last month about its final investment decision enabling process under EMR, and at the exclusion of the Murray Firth and Seagreen projects, as well as the disadvantaged ranking applied to the Inchcape, Nartnaguia and Beatrice projects. I have therefore written to Ed Davey to record the Scottish Government's disappointment at these outcomes and to the lack of clarity, indeed underpinning them, and the delays that this may cause may of course threaten investment in this vital sector. We are very well aware of all of these matters from our extensive and close engagement with all of those concerned. In Scotland we have massive potential for more renewables. All of us know that, and I've had the privilege of working closely with you and all stakeholders over the past 3 years nearly, where I've been Energy Minister. We have enough marine energy in Scotland to supply our own needs 20 times over. And we believe that the small additional costs necessary to develop this resource are necessary, and that they will lead to more secure and affordable supplies of power over time. Power that will be required not only in Scotland, but south of the border and further afield in decades to come, through, we hope, interconnection to Europe, mainland Europe. If we compare this, ladies and gentlemen, to the UK's rush to support nuclear generation in England, with the station at Hinkley Point likely to receive around £35 billion in subsidy over the term of a contract which is more than twice the length of those offered to renewables technologies, then we see that the ask which this sector is making of the UK Government is not modest, but it is not by any means substantial. Now, Scotland has the potential to be a world leader in all stages of marine energy, from technological development to manufacturing and to the generation of electricity. But this potential will only be fully realised across the country, and making sure that the benefits are spread across the country if we can, working with the UK Government, resolve the difficulties with regard to EMR that have concerned us all for far too long. We also need, of course, to provide other support and assistance, and we stand ready to do that, as you know. For example, it's essential that we have adequate fit-for-purpose port and harbour infrastructure to enable construction installation processes to take place. And that's why Scottish Enterprise and Highlands and Islands Enterprise have led the development of the National Renewables Infrastructure Plan. And as part of that plan, we established the £70 million National Renewables Infrastructure Fund to support private sector investors in the development of manufacturing locations. On the skills front, we are also concerned to ensure that there is an adequate supply of skills available, especially as we see the oil and gas sector continuing to require more people. And I'm acutely aware of the skills challenges facing the industry due to the combination of these pressures. So we are wholly committed in the Scottish Government to allow our young people to benefit from the tremendous opportunities that the energy sector as a whole provides looking into the future. And over the past year, it's been my pleasure to work with many of you who have taken on young people, who have helped them with training, as I did, for example, with Arriva just a few months ago. We also announced Energy Skills Scotland in May last year as a body to work with industry to ensure that we have the skilled workforce required to maintain our overall ambitions. And these are very important and challenging tasks, and ones which themselves involve a wide range of strands of work, all of which we are undertaking. And building on existing activity, Energy Skills Scotland will provide a focal point for contact for the industry and individuals within it to ensure that your needs are met. I wanted to turn to marine planning, ladies and gentlemen. Marine Scotland licensing operations team are finalising the recommendations on the Murray Firth wind farm applications. These will be submitted to me following a final legal review, and subject to the results of that for my consideration and determination in the next few weeks. It is absolutely essential that each case is considered strictly on its merits. That is the legal requirement, and one of which we are all aware. It's a robust process, and it's a process which we pursue with scrupulous regard to the legal requirements to which we are all subject. We continue to plan for the emerging technologies of the offshore wind industry, and I can advise today that we will make draft regional locational guidance available on the Scottish Government website, which will detail potential spatial options for the development of offshore wind demonstration projects in Scottish waters. The guidance provides information on a variety of key issues related to the development of floating demonstrator projects and should enable potential developers a head start in the early stages of both site selection and project planning. In addition, Marine Scotland will ensure that licensing policy guidance, such as Survey, Deploy, Monitor, will provide regulators and developers with an efficient risk-based approach for taking forward pilot projects for floating and deep water wind. This work will allow licensing and statutory advisors to base any licensing decisions on greater awareness and knowledge of these exciting, new and innovative technologies. We are absolutely committed to the development in Scotland of an offshore wind industry which brings enormous benefit to the people of Scotland, and I've been delighted to see the collaborative efforts of the public sector and the private sector working on all of these matters together. The scenario mapping reports for the East and North East Scotland will be published by the end of March. Ladies and gentlemen, I think you will all be aware that in November last year we launched our independence referendum white paper, Scotland's Future, and this clearly sets out the case for Scottish independence and shows what an independent Scotland would look like. And that white paper details our vision for Scotland's energy future, a future which we believe lies in developing our enormous renewable energy resource. Scotland does need access, as I think the recent events indicate and demonstrate, to the necessary fiscal levers and regulatory stability that will allow the industry to thrive and to innovate. And we wish to continue to support research and development on renewables, to build new industries in the supply chain and to increase economic benefits. And therefore, we will work very closely with you all to achieve these objectives. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to take, together with Neil, some questions after I finish speaking, if you have questions for me. But in conclusion, can I say that Scotland has the research skills, we have the capacity, we have the location, we have the engineering and expertise and prowess to be world leaders in offshore wind. It is that aim and objective that I have sought to pursue as Energy Minister. It may appear now that there are difficulties facing us in realising these ambitions, in moving, as has been said, I believe already today, from concept to reality. But it is, of course, also said that the darkest hour is the one before the dawn. It may be that we are in that darkest hour at the moment. And in conclusion, can I assure you that both myself and all of my officials in the Scottish Government and other bodies are absolutely determined to work with you to achieve the objectives with regard to development of the offshore wind industry in Scotland, objectives that we share. Thank you very much indeed for listening to me.
Thank you very much, Minister. Now, we have 10 minutes or so for questions, and you've got the opportunity to put your question point directly to the Minister that's responsible for this area in the Scottish Government. So I'm just going to open up straight to the floor, and if you'd like to ask a question, can I get you to raise your hand and we'll get a roving mic to you. So can I ask